The wind howled across the cliffs of Verda 9, a dead world with red skies and no mercy. The rocks beneath her feet were sharp, cold, and crumbling. Yet the alien girl, Alira, stood still. Her silver hair danced in the wind. Her violet eyes stared down at the endless drop below. No one would miss her. No one was left. Her royal home had been turned to ash. Her people were scattered or dead. The last message she heard from her father was full of static and screams. That was weeks ago. She had been running ever since, running from soldiers, from monsters, and from her pain. Now there was nothing left to run from. Only one step and all the pain would be over. She closed her eyes. A single tear slid down her cheek. But just as she took a breath to jump, "If you're going to do it," a calm voice said from behind, "at least wait until you hear what I came all this way to tell you." Alira froze. Her heart stopped. That voice, it wasn't alien. It was human. She turned around slowly. Standing, just 10 steps behind her, was a tall human male. His suit was dusty, scratched from travel. He held no weapon, only a tired smile and kind eyes. Alira narrowed her gaze. "Who are you?" He took a careful step forward. "Name's Jack. Jack Thorne. I'm from Earth." Her voice was cold. "Why are you here?" Jack looked past her, down the cliff, then met her eyes again. "I came to find someone important, a survivor, someone strong, someone royal." Alira's lips trembled, but she said nothing. Jack shrugged slightly. "Didn't expect to find her ready to jump." Alira turned away. "Then you're too late." Jack didn't move. His voice remained soft. "You know, back on Earth, we have this old saying, as long as you're breathing, you've got a chance." She closed her eyes. "I have nothing left." Jack stepped a bit closer, but not too much. "Maybe. Or maybe you've still got something the universe needs. Ever think about that?" Alira shook her head. "You don't know me." "You're right," Jack said. "But I came across 3 systems just to get here. I've fought pirates, escaped a dying freighter, and slept in a hole on a lava moon, all for a name, a signal, a hope." He took a breath. "Alira Vex, Princess of the Verdari. That's you, isn't it?" Her eyes widened. Her name. Spoken by a human? Alira turned back to face him fully. "That name died with my world." Jack's voice became firm. "No, it didn't. You're still here, so it didn't die." Silence stretched between them. Only the wind and distant thunder made any sound. Then, Alira's legs gave way. She collapsed to her knees, her hands clutching her chest. I tried to save them." Jack walked slowly toward her and knelt a few feet away. "Not too close." "I believe you," he said. She looked at him, her face full of sorrow and confusion. "Why do you care?" He smiled gently. "Because the universe is full of monsters. But it only takes one voice, one light, to fight the dark. I think you're still that light. I think you just forgot." Her lips parted, but no words came out. Jack stood up and extended his hand. "Come on, let's get off this cliff. I've got food, water, and a half-working comms unit. Maybe even a campfire." Alira looked at his hand. Her mind screamed to stay, to fall, to disappear. But something inside her, something small and fragile, whispered, "Not yet." She took his hand, and for the first time in many days she stood up, not alone. The fire crackled, softly inside the old cave, casting flickering shadows on the walls. Alira sat silently, staring into the flames. The warmth on her face didn't reach her heart. But at least, she wasn't standing on the cliff anymore. Jack sat a few feet away, eating from a ration pack. He didn't push her to talk. He just chewed slowly and watched the storm outside the cave's mouth. "Why did you really come here?" Alira asked suddenly, her voice quiet but sharp. Jack blinked, then smiled slightly. "I was waiting for you to ask." He reached into his suit and pulled out a small silver disc. With a tap, a blue hologram flickered to life, a map of the galaxy, highlighted with red zones. Earth's war with the Zenth isn't going well, Jack said. But rumors started that someone survived the destruction of Verdari Prime. Someone important. He glanced at her. Alira didn't move. They said this survivor might know a secret weapon, he added. Or at least, how to stop the Zenth from using your world's tech. Her voice was bitter. So you came for information, not to save me. Jack didn't deny it. At first, yeah. Alira turned her face away. But then I found you on that cliff, Jack continued. Not a weapon, not a leader, just a girl who had lost everything. And I knew this wasn't about the mission anymore. She looked at him, her eyes hard. So now what? You going to send your Earth generals a message saying a target found, she's broken and useless? Jack looked into the fire. I haven't sent any message. Not yet. A gust of wind howled outside. I made a choice back there, he said. I could have let you jump, walked away, finished the mission clean. He looked at her, his face serious now. But instead I gave you my hand. Alira stared at him for a long moment. Then she asked, So, you're a soldier? Jack shook his head. No, I'm something worse. I'm a scout. He pointed at the scanner on his wrist. First to land. First to check if it's worth fighting for. Alira snorted. And what did you decide about me? Jack didn't smile this time. I decided you're still worth fighting for. For the first time, her expression softened. Just a little. But before she could answer, the scanner on Jack's wrist beeped twice. He stood quickly, eyes narrowing. Someone's nearby. Alira's instincts returned instantly. She grabbed the small plasma dagger hidden in her boot. Could it be Zenth? Jack checked the signal. No, it's something else. He pulled out a pulse pistol and backed toward the cave entrance. Just then, a shadow moved outside. A tall figure stepped into view, wearing dark armor and glowing red eyes, Jack muttered. Great. Bounty hunter. The figure raised a weapon, and then the cave erupted in light. The first blast hit the rock wall just inches from Alira's head. She dove behind a boulder, heart racing, eyes burning with rage and fear. Jack rolled beside her, pulse pistol in hand, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. That bounty. Hunter's not playing around, Jack said, breathing hard. He wants you alive. Me? Probably not so much. Alira didn't reply. Her hand clutched the small dagger tightly. The fire from the cave was gone now, replaced by darkness, smoke, and the sharp scent of burned rock. Can you run? Jack asked. She nodded once. Then go, he shouted, standing to fire another blast. Alira didn't argue. She darted into the jungle-like forest behind the cliffs. Thick vines, giant glowing insects, and sharp, twisting branches that seemed to grab at her like claws. The planet Verda-9 wasn't just dead. It was alive in all the wrong ways. Everything hunted. Everything. Bit. But somehow this place still felt more like home than the empty stars above. She kept running until her legs gave out. Jack stumbled into the clearing seconds later, panting, weapon still raised. They were safe. For now. Alira sat on a fallen tree trunk, her chest rising and falling fast. Jack sat beside her, eyes scanning the dark. Then he asked quietly, What happened to your world? Alira's body stiffened. She hated that question. But for some reason, she answered. They came without warning, she said. 1 minute I was giving a speech at the Unity Festival. The next, our skies were full of fire. Jack listened silently. My mother died in the first blast. My father kept sending messages even as the palace burned. He told me to run, that I was the last hope. Her voice cracked. But what kind of hope just runs away? Jack didn't speak for a while. Then he said, The kind that survives long enough to fight back. Alira looked down at her trembling hands. I didn't even bury them. I just ran. She expected judgment, but Jack's voice was calm. I've seen soldiers freeze in battle. I've seen captains abandon ships. You didn't freeze, you moved. That takes guts. His words felt heavy, but warm. She asked, "And what about you? What makes a human scout come all the way out here for someone he's never met?" Jack gave a sad smile. "Because I've seen what happens when we ignore the ones who've lost everything. The galaxy is full of power-hungry species, but the strong ones, the ones who survive." He looked right at her. "They're the ones who remember where they came from." Suddenly, a loud growl echoed through the forest. Both stood up fast. From the shadows, a massive beast emerged, 8 legs, glowing blue eyes, and fangs longer than Jack's forearm. Its armored body shimmered like glass, and it moved like a shadow made of blades. "Let me guess," Jack whispered. "Friend of yours?" Alira stepped forward slowly, voice low. "It's called a Vraxian stalker. My people used to ride them into battle." Jack blinked. "You rode that thing?" She nodded. "But this one's wild." The beast sniffed the air, then let out a piercing scream. Jack raised his weapon. Alira raised her hand. "No," she whispered. "Let me try something." And then she stepped forward, toward the beast. The beast bowed its head. Alira's trembling fingers brushed gently against the creature's face. The Vraxian stalker growled low but didn't attack. Jack stared, frozen in disbelief. "Okay. Either you're part animal whisperer," Jack muttered, "or I'm dreaming with a concussion." Alira gave a small, tired smile. "She remembers my scent. This species bonds with its rider for life, if the bond was ever made." "She?" Jack asked, lowering his weapon. Alira nodded. "Her name was Krasha. My battle mount when I was still a princess." Krasha let out a deep rumble and curled herself protectively around the two, like a guardian returning to her queen. For a moment, Jack watched in quiet awe, but inside his head, warnings were firing. Something about this bond, something about this girl didn't match what his mission file said. Later that night, Alira rested against Krasha's warm side, finally asleep for the first time in days. Jack, sitting nearby, slowly pulled a hidden chip from the inside of his boot. It was small, glowing red. His fingers hesitated. The chip contained the original orders from Earth Command. "Locate the Firdarii heir. If unable to secure allegiance, neutralize the target. She must not fall into Zenth hands." He stared at it, a storm inside him. Alira had trusted him. She had taken his hand on that cliff. But Earth Command didn't want peace, they wanted control, and she had no idea. But then, she stirred. Half asleep, Alira mumbled, "You're not like the others." Jack froze. She whispered again, eyes still closed. "You talk like a man who lost everything too." He clenched the chip in his hand. Then, without another word, he stood and walked to a nearby ledge. With one hard flick, he threw the chip off the cliff, watching it vanish into the night. He turned and whispered, "I didn't come for a mission anymore. I came for you." The next morning, Alira woke early. Jack was sitting by a fire, boiling some strange alien roots. "You look like someone who didn't sleep," she said. Jack shrugged. "Didn't want to get eaten by your oversized cat." She smirked. "She doesn't eat allies." But her smile faded when she noticed something poking out from Jack's bag. A black data card, cracked. She picked it up slowly. "What is this?" Jack looked up and froze. For a few seconds, the only sound was the wind moving through the trees. "That was my mission briefing," Jack said honestly. "I destroyed it." Alira's hand trembled. "What did it say?" He stood. "It said if you refuse to help Earth, I was to end you." Her eyes widened. Shock, betrayal, silence. "But I didn't," Jack said, stepping closer. "From the moment I saw you standing on that cliff, I knew you weren't a target. You were a survivor. And maybe the galaxy's last chance to fight back." Alira turned away, her voice cold. "So, what now?" I'm just supposed to trust. You again? No, Jack replied. You're supposed to decide for yourself. He tossed her his pistol. If you still think I'm a threat, do what Earth asked. Alira held the pistol. Her fingers curled around the handle. Krasha growled low beside her, sensing the tension. Jack didn't move. He just looked at her. Calm, steady. Alira raised the weapon. Her hand shook. But then, slowly, she lowered it. I don't forgive you, she whispered. But I believe you. Jack nodded quietly. And in that strange forest, beside a deadly beast and two broken hearts, a fragile alliance was born. The forest had gone too quiet. No wind, no bugs, no distant roars. Krasha, the beast, stood suddenly, ears twitching, muscles tight. Alira felt it too. The stillness before the strike. Jack looked up from his toolkit. What's wrong? Alira raised her hand, signaling silence. Her violet eyes scanned the shadows between the trees. Then she saw it. A red dot on Jack's chest. Get down, she screamed, tackling him as the blast tore through the air. The plasma shot hit a tree behind. Them exploding it into splinters, they rolled through the dirt. Krasha charged with a thunderous growl, but another shot sent her crashing back into the underbrush, howling. From the mist stepped a tall figure, metal armor black as night, glowing skull-shaped helmet, and a massive alien cannon slung across one shoulder. The bounty hunter was back, and this time, he wasn't alone. Two smaller, faster scouts dropped from the trees, circling Alira and Jack like wolves. You should have handed her over, human, the hunter's robotic voice growled. Now both of you die. Jack raised his pulse pistol, but the bounty hunter fired first, sending Jack flying against a rock with a groan. Alira screamed, No! She stood between Jack and the hunter, her dagger in one hand, rage in her veins. You want the last Verdari? She shouted. Come and face her. The hunter chuckled. You think you can stop me with that little blade? Alira didn't answer. She charged. Fast. Fierce. Unafraid. She dodged the first scout's claw, slid under the second, and leaped straight at the bounty hunter, blade aimed at his neck, but he blocked it with one massive gauntlet and slammed her into the dirt. She coughed, gasping, blood in her mouth. You're not a warrior, the hunter mocked. You're just a scared little girl who lived too long. Jack stirred behind her, groaning. His hand reached for his pistol. The hunter raised his cannon to finish her. Then it happened. A blinding flash of violet light exploded from Alira's body. The ground shook. The air trembled. Her eyes glowed like a dying star reigniting. Jack stared in awe. Even the bounty hunter hesitated. From the dust, Alira rose, levitating slightly, her hair floating, energy crackling around her skin. Not a warrior, she said, her voice echoing unnaturally. I'm a queen. Then she struck. The scouts went flying, smashed into trees. The bounty hunter tried to fire, but she melted the cannon mid-charge, one swing of her arm, and he was slammed into a boulder, armor sparking. Krasha returned with a roar, pinning the hunter down. Jack stumbled to her side. Alira? What just happened? Alira dropped to her knees, panting. The glow faded. Her strength drained. I don't know, she whispered, but I think I finally stopped running. Jack grinned, despite the blood on his face. You scared me. Remind me never to make you mad. Alira smiled weakly. Then she collapsed into his arms. Alira woke up crying, but she didn't know why. The stars above her were spinning. The jungle around her was silent. Her head rested on something warm, Jack's chest. She blinked, confused. Did we die? She whispered. Jack groaned beneath her. No, but we might if we don't move soon. That was when she noticed the burn marks on his jacket, the bruises on his face, and the thick smoke still hanging in the air. Then it hit her. The fight, the power, the glow. I did that? She asked, sitting up slowly. Jack nodded, wincing as he touched his side. Yeah, you went full goddess mode. Remind me not to argue with you ever again. Alira looked at her hands, still shaking slightly. I don't understand. I didn't train for this. My powers were supposed to die with the royal line. Looks like they didn't, Jack said. Looks like they were waiting for you to stop hiding. Just then a weak groan came from the shadows. Both turned. The bounty hunter, broken, but not dead, was crawling away. Krasha had collapsed from her wounds, unable to finish the job. Jack raised his pistol to end it, but Alira stepped in front of him. No, she said. Jack hesitated. He tried to kill you. I know, she said, but if I kill him now, I become just another monster. Jack slowly lowered the weapon. Then what do we do with him? Alira walked over, grabbed the hunter's stolen communicator and sent out a coded message using her royal access. This is Princess Alira Vex, survivor of Virdari Prime. I am alive, and I am choosing no side. Jack's eyes widened. What are you doing? I'm ending it, she said. No more Earth missions, no more bounty hunters. If they want me, they'll have to talk to me with truth, not guns. She looked back at Jack. And if that gets me killed, so be it. But, Jack shook his head. Not while I'm still breathing. Suddenly the communicator lit up. A voice crackled through. Virdari Princess, this is High Admiral Wren of the Human Alliance. Stand by for retrieval. We are not your enemy. Alira froze. Then another voice interrupted. Cold, metallic, and alien. This is the Zenth Collective. The girl belongs to us. Jack's face hardened. They found us. Ships were coming. From both sides. Alira looked at the communicator in her hand, then at the wounded beast beside her, and finally at the man who had walked her back from the cliff. She took a breath. No more running, she said softly, and with a quiet but powerful voice she whispered, It's time to choose who I really am. The sky above Verda 9 tore open. 2 massive ships dropped from hyperspace, one silver and proud, carrying the emblem of Earth's alliance. The other, black and twisted, pulsing with red light. Xantha Dralira stood at the edge of the high ridge, her hair whipping in the rising wind. Her beast Krasha lay behind her, breathing slowly, still injured but alive. Jack stood beside her, silent. Ready. You sure about this? Jack asked, gripping his weapon. Alira didn't answer at first. She watched the ships descend like titans, preparing to fight over one small girl. Then she said, I was born to rule, but I never chose it. Not until now. The communicator buzzed. Princess Alira Vex, came the Alliance voice, calm but firm. Surrender peacefully. You will be granted protection under Earth's command. Another buzz. Alira of Virdari, hissed the Zenth commander. Come with us. You carry what belongs to us. Refuse, and we destroy this planet. Jack raised his pistol. I say we shoot both messages. But Alira smiled. No, I have a better idea. She stepped forward and spoke into the communicator. Her voice echoed across both channels. I do not belong to Earth. I do not belong to the Zenth. I do not belong to anyone but myself. Silence followed. Then she added, If either of you tries to claim me again, I will unleash what you both fear. She raised her hand, and the sky itself pulsed with violet light. Thunder cracked. The ground shook. The hidden power she had awakened days ago surged through her. Krasha howled. The trees bent. The ships above paused, scanning, afraid. Stand down, came the Alliance voice suddenly. All units, back off. Retreating for now, the Zenth said coldly. But this isn't over. And, just like that, both ships slowly turned away, vanishing into the stars. Alira lowered her hand. Her knees buckled slightly, but Jack caught her. You did it, he said softly. You faced them both. She looked at him, her voice shaky. No, we did it. He smiled. So, what now? Princess, rebel, queen of the jungle? Alira laughed for the first time in what felt like years. I don't know, but I know one thing. She reached for his hand. I don't want to walk it alone. Jack squeezed her hand gently. Then you never will. Later that night, by a small fire in the jungle clearing, the stars above looked a little less cold. Alira leaned against Jack. Krasha curled nearby, watching like a loyal guardian. There was no crown, no throne, no army. But in that quiet moment she had everything she needed. She had survived. She had chosen. And now, she was free.